people go back and revote now, that Kamala would have won. Because what people don't realize is, even though Trump won in a landslide, technically, it was if there's anything such as a close landslide, it was that. Because every presidential election comes down to about half a dozen swing states. We all know, right? And if you really look at the numbers in those swing states, he won those swing states by a small margin. So, like, if people could go back and review it again, if you look at his poll numbers and his approval numbers, he's lower than what, like, George W. Bush was, like, at the height of the Iraq War. So, if people go back and do it all again, and if they could revote, Kamala would have won those swing states.
Yep.
So, I can't.
Let's grant you that. But what I say is this: by midterm, just watch. The opinion will change, because if you look at like the first month, people was loving everything he was doing until he really got to this tariff shit, which made people very angry, and then them really polarizing with that damn whole Venezuela shit that kind of upset a lot of people. Before that, they was loving what he was doing. I had no gripes about anything. I think the tariffs thing was crazy, and he kind of did things out of order. But just watch.
What was his reason?
Give it another next quarter. By next quarter, people are gonna have his approval rating.
People love things that their pocketbook start getting hit though.
So double it. Here go the thing. I switched my money into low yield, low risk investments, knowing that it was going to be this much volatility in the market. And as soon as it crashed or it's going down, I'm waiting to my buy-in back point. I'm about to come out real good off of this shit.
It depends on how you do it.
Right. That's the opportunity to buy. It's like getting blue chips at TJ Maxx prices.
Well, let me say something right quick. I'm not in support of either candidate. I think they both. I'm not political as far as who I'm putting my stock in or faith in at all. But I'm just saying, as far as the general consensus and the public consensus of who they would have picked, people, the American public, if anything, is fickle, bro. Like this whole thing of like people love Trump, people love Kamala, love Democrats, love Republicans. People love their self-interest, and people love what's going to make them comfortable, and that is very fickle in American life, as we know. Can y'all agree with that?
Yeah, most black folks
absolutely correct.
Saying in the stock market, most black
right,
folks,
and the whole stock market
most
thing,
folks, not even most black folks, but most people aren't.
Yeah, half the nation is not investing in the stock market at all.
So let me ask y'all this: y'all actually do y'all know why he caused all this tariff debacle and stuff?
Absolutely. China,
because they were overcharging.
You want to start with China with their currency manipulation, them actually not allowing anything to be imported into their economy while exporting to everyone. Like there's a lot of reasons for that. America was getting screwed for years, and somebody decided, I'm gonna stand up for it.
They were also
you telling me that Trump made a decision. He said, okay, look, if I do this, I could allow or I could force people or motivate people to buy from domestic instead of imported product.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, do the American people care about that, bro?
Buy right here. Y'all telling me that would have caused people to vote for Kamala?
Bro, people don't even want to pay an extra $20 for haircuts, bro. They are not about to sit here and think they about to. People out here don't even want to, like, once them prices start creeping up and hair products.
So you looking at it? So you're looking at it from the consumer side.
That's who's voting.
Consumers. That's who's voting.
But that's also short term.
Hold on, wait. There's other voters. There's business owners.
You guys are missing one thing, though. You guys are missing that also a lot of these countries were teaming up against America to get rid of our currency because they were going to devalue the U.S. dollar. So he's trying to increase, even though it looks like as of right now, like it's a down, right? There's going to be a down, but then there's always going to be an up. So the reason for it is because that they're also teaming up on America to devalue the U.S. dollar. You
also got to take into effect that if you do force people to buy here, it's actually going to force manufacturing companies to bring in more jobs because now they got to produce. Yes, that's what the whole point of it is,
bro. That's not what's happening, though, bro. You got That's not what Americans are doing. What Americans are doing is
you're making it more expensive for people. You're making it more expensive for people to rely on companies foreign suppliers. So in that, what happens is it makes people have to produce right here in the nation, which means you're going to open up manufacturing jobs.
That's the thing, though. They just passed it. What happens is tariffs went up, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means the person who has the company that's importing the goods pays a higher price. They pay a tariff on their good, right? All they're doing is passing it down to the consumer. They're not saying, "Oh man, that means we got to bring our companies back to America." Because even still, with the tariffs, they still pay infinitely less than what they would pay if they brought those companies back to America.
Yeah, but all of that is short term, right? And first off, when we're talking about the tariffs, we're not talking about the price of the retail per se. Like it's really about the materials. So like when Nike says that, okay, shit, it costs us $41 to make a pair of Jordan 4s. They're gonna pay the cost of that, but it doesn't include, okay, now our R&D, our advertisement, and everything else that we incorporate in order to make this $220 retail. So it's not going to directly inflate those prices at the scale that a lot of people think. So it's not really working like that. And then we have to understand that China is now hemorrhaging. I don't know if you've been paying attention to what their yen is looking like. Way worse than what the dollar's falling. Tell you what. And people there, we have been getting foreign investments, and a lot of people are falling on their knees. You saw it; they just got the negotiation going with India. China's ready to talk.
Trev, who are you trying to convince?
I'm not trying to convince anything. I'm just telling you what I see.
No, I get what you're saying, but y'all are looking at it from an investor or a business owner standpoint instead of looking at it from the consumer standpoint.
Exactly.
Who's saying I don't want to go and
so
pay
when I say that the actual retail, when I say the retail price that I just mentioned, is that referring to consumer or investor? I just talked about how the retail price will not be inflated at the scale that most people think. That's talking about the consumer.
People don't want to pay $5 more for whatever they buying right now.
Bullshit.
And ultimately, you'll have cheaper goods.
They'll pay $5,000 for a bag that costs $20 to make. And I guarantee if you bring the price down on that bag, they won't even buy it.
No. Listen. We got to look at it, step out of ourselves, right, and look at it just from the general American citizen. I think sometimes on these panels we forget who the typical American is. We say all the time the typical American can't afford a $500 emergency. The typical American is not buying a $5,000 bag, bro. They're not.
Oh shit! Every tax
soon as tax rate, I was about to say, as soon as they get a commission, or their paycheck comes, or their alimony, or whatever the case may be, they.
Wait, stop. Hold on, Frenny. So, okay, let's think about what we say all the time. The median income for the American citizen is what, like 50 grand? Are you telling me the typical American has a bag that's 10% of their gross income?
I would never say that because I understand it, and I'm going to tell you that most people don't have it. And if you understand about those brands, they literally destroy the excess so the common people can't have it. It's not designed, like you won't see Louis and even though it costs $20 to make, you won't see it in Marshalls. You won't see it in those secondary retail stores because they destroy it before they mark it down. So the average person is not buying this. I understand it's not happening like that. Right. If you look at the sales versus people in America,
I'm just saying
we're not saying the average person, but we're saying that most people are going to buy what they feel they will be willing to pay more for. Something they feel is quality, something that they value. They don't.
The point y'all are missing. Hold on, wait. The point y'all are missing is that we're talking about if everybody had to go and do it again. Yes. Just based off of what we're saying, if everybody had to go and do it again, they're not going to say, "Hey, I'm okay with the prices of everything rising up and me having to pay more for dish detergent, me having to pay more for shoes, me having to pay more for this." They're going to say, I'm going to go back and vote the other way because it keeps the price of everything back down to what it used to be.
I don't think it's a pay more, though. I don't think the goal is to pay more. I don't think the goal is to have it. Yes, he wants to give a little bit more like businesses to America, but I don't think his overall goal is to stop trading with
people don't care what his overall goal is. They're talking about what's happening right now. Yes, they're saying what's happening to me right now, I do not like. or what potentially can happen to me, I do not like. If I had a chance to go back and do it again, I'm voting against Trump. That's what we're talking about.
Right.
We don't. Nobody cares about what his 10-year plan is. Nobody cares about what his 5-year plan is. What they care about is, are you raising tariffs and my prices of goods about to go up 100% because your ass don't know how to deal with China? I'd rather go with Kamala because at least the price of fucking eggs won't go up.
Right.
Who's
to
say that that's not going to happen with Kamala? Who's to say that it's not going to be
exactly?
Who's to say there's not going to be a whole other thing that's going to impact even more? Like, that's the thing. It's like you don't know. You don't know.
She say kind of thing.
Y'all are missing the perspective. Two different perspectives, right? Y'all are talking about the perspective from the people that are renting. And Trump's what I think. What Trump doing with these tariffs?
We also
can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
We're also talking about an intel perspective too. Like, you're not gonna know what people are gonna do as far as when it comes to raising and lowering or the prices of, or the tariffs on fucking goods and shit. These are things that is confidential. These are confidential moves that the cabinet
semi-confidential, because there's some people who fucking knew.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like,
y'all are not understanding. The problem is disconnect.
I understand, Sweeney. I understand what you're saying.
Y'all are making an argument for the government when I'm telling you it's the people that would change. Y'all are saying, oh, these people are gonna go with Trump again just because we're telling y'all with the way that people feel about how Trump is doing, with their fears about prices rising and all of that, they're gonna say, no, I'll go the other way. Callie, you may be
Sweeney,
right.
let's say I'll concede to that, even though I don't necessarily believe you.